No, that's wrong. Dixie Diamonds, 50. Lakeland Quarry, 1:14 p.m. Though traffic had never been heavy, the farther the Bordens got from Cooktown, the lighter the traffic became, until they reached the tiny hamlet of Lakeland Quarry, when Liz, in response to Eddie's tailgating a heavily burdened lorry carrying freshly cut timber just east of town, said, "Eddie," as they journeyed homeward, "tailgating that truck won't get us home any faster." Eddie frowned, exhaled hard in response, and took his foot off the accelerator before replying, "Right you are. Sorry. I want to get home." "As do I, my love," Liz chided gently. "We've left the 4-lane behind, so we'll have to drive a bit smarter, yes?" "We, eh?" Ed said with a wink. Right. Once we're clear of this burg and on Highway 81, traffic will lighten up again. Sorry, I'll be more careful. Changing the subject, would it be rude and ridiculous to check in with Karen, just to see if anything's happened at all?" "I'm confident she'll contact us, my love." Eddie exhaled and mumbled, "Non sequitur." Knowing that non sequitur is Latin for "it does not follow," Lizzie, working hard to keep her voice light despite her growing irritation, asked, "Well, what does follow then?" she asked with a sigh. "Tell you what," she continued lightly, "on the teeny tiny chance that Karen spoke with Big B and B didn't immediately hook us into the conversation, would it mollify you if we checked in with it?" Mollify is a verb that means calming someone down or reducing anxiety. "I don't like calling Balloony it," Ed said before adding, "Do you?" "I find it odd, though accurate, since Balloony is sexless," Lizzie replied. "But of course it's odd. Big B is unlike anyone else we've ever spoken with." "True," Ed conceded, "just odd. I like our zim, z, zim, ziz gender-free pronouns for Jerald far better. Somehow calling anyone it just seems degrading." "I can see that," Lizzie replied. "I suppose we could ask them," she added with a sigh. "Speaking of, now that we've been using z, zim, ziz with Jerald for a while, I can't help but wonder if z, zer, ziz might not have been even better. What do you think?" "What?" Ed asked a bit sharply at the sharp turn in their wandering conversation, which, along with the long morning drive and the day's dire circumstances, drew his patience thin. Liz, exhaling hard, continued, "Well, I understand Z. It is genderless and sounds equally like both he and she. Z, he, she. To a lesser degree, the same could be said about Ziz, right? Sounds a touch more like his than it does hers, but still. Ziz is a fine replacement for both his and hers, as Ziz definitely has a similar sound to his and hers, but is non-gendered. It's that Zim part that comes up short. Zim sounds far more like him than it does her. I've been thinking that Zer would have been a better choice than Zim." Edward paused, inhaled, and wisely took a moment to gather his thoughts before replying. "So what you're saying is that Z is truly a gender-free pronoun, Ziz is nearly gender-free, but that Zim is just a sibilant form of him?" Sibilant, adjective, making or characterized by a hissing sound. "Yes," exclaimed Liz, "that is what I'm saying. Do you agree?" Well, perhaps," Ed said, "but really our opinions don't matter so much as would Jerald's, as this is something that directly affects Zim while indirectly affecting Balloony. Perhaps we should consult them, yes?" "Probably," Lizzie said, nodding her head. "Perfect," Ed said to Liz. "Balloony," he continued, "I say, Balloony, can you hear us? Lizzie and I have an earth-shattering question for you," before turning his head slightly to the left and smiling at his bride of 8 years.